Hey guys, it's Yana here from the Blue Mountains. This video is about teaching you how to fall asleep naturally. I'm a past life hypnosis practitioner. I've been doing hypnosis for a while now, and I've developed a technique called the RIFFS method that I've been teaching people. So we all know we have two sides to the brain. So the left and the right. The left side is your thinking. That's where you solve problems. That's where accountants, people that work with figures, they're mostly in the left brain. They can find it very hard to sleep. And then the right brain is your images and your creative, your art, your music. Basically, for the purpose of sleep, the way I want you to think of it is that the left side and the right side do not work at the same time. So you're either in the left thinking or you're in the right creating or images. What happens is when you lay down in bed and you start thinking, then you are in the left side of the brain and you need to consciously get into the right side of the brain because that's where your dreams are. So what I tell people is to activate that dreaming side, the right side of the brain, by seeing something that is very familiar to them. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, oh, I've done meditation tracks and I've tried all these guided visualizations and they haven't worked. Well, I want to tell you that, yeah, I know they haven't worked because firstly, you shouldn't be listening to music. So a lot of those guided meditations have music. What music does is it stimulates the brain. So that's one thing. And the second thing about music is that you're listening to the energy and the intention of the composer. The other thing is, if you're saying that you've tried meditations, what I have found with them is that most of them want you to see scenes or objects or things that aren't really that familiar to you. So they might want you to see a castle. Well, when do you ever see a castle and how do you really know what it looks like? Or waterfalls or secluded beaches. Unless you see that all the time, you're going to find it really difficult to see, and then you're going to get even more anxious. My guided track that I have for sleeping is making mashed potatoes, and the reason I have done that is that first of all, I get you to feel yourself in the space of your own kitchen. So that is a place that you probably spend a lot of time. You're very familiar with the space. You know where walls are, where windows are, where cupboards are, where bench tops are. You know where the sink is. So everything is very, very familiar. You need to do zero thinking. I tell people to see something very, very familiar that's really easy for you to see. So I'm going to talk you through the RIFFS method. Now, I have a printable document as a JPEG on my Facebook page. So if you go to my website, quantumsleep.com.au, and you can print that out, and it's kind of like a memory jogger for what I'm about to tell you. First of all, when you get into bed, don't be anxious. It's okay if you want to think for a bit, because sometimes that time when we lay in bed, it's one of the only times we get where we can just kind of process the day. Try not to agonize over what needs doing, but if you like, have a notepad and write down any notes you need to for the next day, just so you don't have to worry about it. I don't really look at what other people or other sites are saying about sleep. I only work off what I've researched and what I know and what I get through clients, what I know to work. But the only thing that I do say from everything else is to eliminate that last coffee of the day, and then also just be mindful of any sort of sugar that you might have in the evening. it may just be kind of hyping you up and making it a bit difficult. I know that when I have hypnosis clients, I tell them not to have coffee because it can make it tricky to maintain the images. So where you might try to see an apple and you get a glimpse of it, you won't be able to maintain on that apple, which is the same as not being able to maintain in the image's dream part of the mind. It's the same thing. The R is to be ready to sleep, and that's once you kind of think, okay, I've had enough of thinking. At that point, I want you to lay down and turn so that your head is facing left. There are sort of articles I've seen circulating about how it's beneficial to sleep on your left for the fluid flow in your body because of the way the organs are. When you turn left, it's a lot easier to activate those images, and it tends to be easier to quieten the thinking. The I is for intention, so I want you to have the intention to see. So see inside your mind, to visualize. So having the intention is what begins the process. So don't try to visualize something without having the intention first. So ready to sleep, face left, have the intention to see. Choose something familiar. So it needs to be a familiar room or a familiar object, like, you know, the green apple that you see every day, or whatever it may be. So like I say, the kitchen. The second F is to feel. So instead of trying to see straight away, just feel that object, feel its size, feel its space, feel the density. If it's an apple, just feel it. It's kind of small, it fits in your hand, it's smooth. You know what that object feels like. Or the kitchen, you know what it feels like to stand in your kitchen. You know how big it is, you know where walls are, you know where doors are, windows are. So just feeling the space is the second F. And then the S is to see. So once you are to that point, then you should find it easier to see. So once you're, for example, in your kitchen space, you can start to see the floor. What's it made of? Or, you know, what texture, what colour. You can see the cupboards. What colour are they? What sort of texture and surface? Then your bench tops. You know, are they kind of very thick or are they thin? What are the edges like? Are they rounded? And all these little details like handles, and do you have a double sink or a single sink? These are all details that you know, that you don't even have to think about. That's where you begin to see the object, and that's when the part of the mind that is used for dreaming is actually activated, and that thinking should have stopped by then. Then you can add another S to the RIFFS method, because I say you can slowly add motion, and that's where I get you to kind of, through the guided visualization, I get you to open cupboards and get everything out you need to start peeling potatoes, and then the peeling motion of the potatoes, get you to do it very, very slowly, and everything should be done really slowly. So don't race through everything, because you want to see as much detail as you possibly can on those objects. In the case of the potato, you want to see the dimples in it, and maybe a bit of dirt stuck on it, the colour of the skin. And as you peel it, you want to see the flesh colour on the inside, and you want to feel yourself holding that peeler and holding that potato. What does it feel like to hold? So it's kind of awakening all the senses that you use in your dreams. Really zoom in So once you're able to see it, zoom right in really closely, and that's when your mind is at its quietest. The slower you go and the more you can zoom in, the more your mind quietens and your dreaming will take over. You can use this same principle to meditate. But it's really important to sleep, so I really, really hope that this helps you and that you're able to get to sleep naturally every night, and that you can kind of move through any issues that you might have had, and hopefully you'll get help filtering through from your higher self as you sleep. So you should definitely start to feel better. If you wake during the night, you need to immediately see that apple again, or whatever it was that you saw to get to sleep. You can do this on weekend mornings when you want to sleep in beyond your normal waking time if you wake up early for work. On the weekend, if you wake up, do exactly the same thing. Just see that apple or that object again. Really concentrate on seeing it, and you'll fall back to sleep, and you should have another 2 to 3 hours. Now, if you're still finding it hard to sleep, do something creative. Do colouring in books. Use your imagination, because most of us are in the fight and flight brainwaves for too much of the day. You need to draw. You need to knit or sew, or make something. You need to get creative. Thanks for watching.